Although the age of Zen may now be upon us,
Call him Mr. Physics! He bends reality to his will!
another legend once graced the pitch.
To the back wall! Scrub Killa scores! 0 seconds! Unbelievable!
Rocket League's first prodigy,
2 players gone! Fahama to finish it! What a save that is! What? We keep going!
and the youngest ever world champion.
Around the corner, Scrub Killa has the demo. Kate up around. Very big down. Very big scores! And with that vitality, take it all! 3 Titans, 1 team. With no vitality, your world champions!
This is the story of Scrub Killa.
My dad introduced me to the original game actually, like on the PlayStation 3 when I was like 6 years old.
Scrub Killa's Rocket League journey started before the game ever came out, when he picked up the predecessor, supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars.
And like at the very start I didn't really enjoy playing it that much, but then I started to get like really hooked on it. And I was playing for like 3-4 years, and then I took like a little break for like a year or two at the end of the game because it was kind of dying. And then I seen that Rocket League was out on like the Steam store, and then I just picked it up, and the first day that I played I was like already doing really good, and I just went from there.
Rocket League released on July 7th, 2015 on both PlayStation 4 and Steam. The game became an overnight sensation, seeing widespread success and thousands of players logging in. When Scrub Killa tried out the game for the first time, he was just 12 years old, and had no idea how much of his life would be spent inside of Rocket League across the next 9 years.
The first day that I played the game, I think I won like 40 games in a row. Like I've got a screenshot actually. I didn't really start the game like trying to go pro though. I was just playing for having fun, but I guess I was always like good off the get-go. And because like I played the predecessor battle cars, I think that gave me like a really big advantage.
Scrub Killa used every bit of that advantage to climb the ranks, leaderboards, and even the early developing pro scene. As early as October of 2015, he was winning prize money in weekly tournaments, and even went on to nearly qualify for the Rocket League Central Pro League Season 1, although he came just short, 2 Game 5 losses away from having qualified to the precursor to RLCS.
When you're playing at a young age, it's very quite nerve-wracking. Like there's quite a lot of pressure, so I think like stuff like that kind of affected my gameplay as well. So yeah, I think just nerves and stuff.
Despite his young age and nerves, Scrub Killa didn't let anything stop him. He was winning more and more weekly tournaments and earning more and more prize money in early 2016, and even found his way onto one of the best teams in Europe, Crown and Jewels, alongside Pashi and Siki, 2 players who would be dominating the early RLCS scene. Unfortunately for Scrub Killa, it was all about to come crashing down, and there was nothing he could do this time. But before that, a quick word from today's sponsor. Hey, are you enjoying the video? Do you want to see more RLCS Pro documentaries like this? Well, I have good news for you. If you click today's sponsor, the subscribe button, you'll see even more amazing professional interviews. So what you waiting for? Click it! Thank you for your support, and let's get back to the video. Although Rocket League had seen plenty of esports tournaments and weeklies across its short life so far, the game hadn't truly had a premier esports event. But that was all about to change. Psyonix announced the RLCS Rocket League Championship Series. It would be the premier tournament structure that would feature tens of thousands of dollars in prizing and would culminate in a world championship taking place on LAN, in person, to see which team was the best in Rocket League. Unfortunately for Scrub Killa, along with this announcement came news that there was a minimum age requirement. He was too young. He wouldn't be able to play RLCS for another 2 years, missing out on 5 entire seasons of RLCS.
Like when RLCS got announced, it was a bit of a bummer because I knew that I had to wait like at that time like just over 2 years. But like at the end of the day, I love playing the game, so it didn't really stop me. I just knew that I had to keep grinding, keep going. Like it was pretty shit not getting to play, but at the same time it didn't really stop me, you know.
Although it was brutal news for Scrub Killa, he kept playing the game. And in late 2016, early 2017, he was grinding this solo playlist, 1v1, the duels, and climbed the ranks rather quickly. This culminated in the first premier 1v1 tournament, League of Rockets The 12 Titans. It was an online tournament featuring the best 12 1v1 players in the world, and Scrub Killa went on to win it.
Yeah, the first one was great because like, yeah, it was like a really good experience because it was like all best of one games, so it was like so much pressure on me, and the fact that I actually came through and won it was like really amazing, and that was definitely one of my fondest memories, for sure.
Scrub Killa didn't just stick to 1v1. In June of 2017, he competed in the DreamHack Summer 2017 Championship, where he managed to get top 4, only losing in the semifinals to the former world champions Flipside Tactics.
That was the first 3v3 LAN that I played at. Well, I actually played at another one, but that was kind of like a smaller one, so that was like the first real one. But that was like a really good experience because Pashi like took a chance on me. He was like, "Yo, do you want to play with me in Neos for this tournament?" And I was like, "Sure." And then we were like staying in like a little cabin in Sweden, and it was like really like a tiny little cabin, but it was like really good. Yeah, I mean, like when we lost, we got reverse swept by Flipside in the semi-finals, so it was kind of shitty to get reverse swept. It was kind of like a bummer, but it was like a really good tournament overall.
Despite his talent and many early successes, Scrub Killa had some failures too. He competed in League of Rockets, the World Cup 2017, an event that featured teams representing their own nation, trying to be the best country in the world. And although Scrub Killa played for Scotland, which then consisted of 2 former world champions and Scrub, the young up-and-comer, they managed to get last place in their group, going 0-3, not winning a single match.
Well, it was funny because like going into that event, we were actually like one of the favorite countries in the world on paper. I think Scotland at this time were like one of the best countries at Rocket League, and we were definitely like supposed to do really good, and we kind of shit the bed a little bit. I would say that tournament wasn't do or die. We were kind of just having fun with it, so it was a good experience though.
Scrub Killa didn't have to wait long for another moment of glory. Fast forward to 2018 in February, and League of Rockets 12 Titans returns with Year 2. Scrub Killa is the reigning champion, and there's a lot of pressure on him to repeat, especially in a format that just features best of 1 matches, a single game, 5 minutes of Rocket League to win or lose. And Scrub Killa wins. He stormed through the bracket and managed to take down Fairy Peak in the grand final in one of the best 1v1 games of all time, eking out the win by a single goal. Scrub Killa retained his title as the best 1v1 player in the world.
The second one was like actual in person, like the actual LAN event. The first one was the first time that I won such a big event. But like I'll say the second one was like just as special, to be honest. But like we went to Glasgow, like a little gaming cafe kind of, and like we were all just sitting there playing. But like I remember before I played Fairy in the finals that like I had so much pressure that I could like feel my heart beating through my head. Like I could feel like my heart was like boom 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 because like the pressure and 1v1 is, in my opinion, like a lot more than the pressure in 3v3 because the only person, it's like it's all up to you and there's nobody else. So in my opinion that like adds an extra level of pressure to perform. But yeah, it was a really good experience, like actually living up to the pressure, getting to win like by 1 goal. Yeah, it was like just once in a lifetime stuff. Really good.
Fast forward to August 2018, and Scrub Killa is 1 month away from his RLCS debut in Season 6. He's already found a team, but before that he had one final tournament to play, the Rocket League Universal Open Season 2, a 2v2 LAN that he managed to qualify for with Greasymeister.
Me and Greasy kind of just signed up for fun, like obviously we wanted to win and stuff like that, but like we were just like a pickup team.
Despite being a pickup team facing established duos, Scrub and Greasy managed to not only qualify to the LAN, but make it all the way to the grand finals, where they finally met their match against Cloud9.
in terms of the LAN, it was a really good LAN. I was at like I think it was at NBC, the TV studios. So we were like actually playing in the TV studio, and it was actually on like the American television, so that was great. And like that LAN, we didn't really meet that many fans because there wasn't like fans that were there. It was just in the TV studio. But like meeting all the other players and stuff was cool. And like in my opinion, they should do more 2 versus 2 like events. I think it's got like a huge potential because it's the most popular game mode, so I don't see like why they couldn't do more with it.
Fun 2v2 tournament aside, Scrub Killa set his focus on the true goal, RLCS. He had been picked up in early August by Team Vitality. He would be joining Fairy Peak and Pashy, replacing Freaky on a squad that had dominated the Season 5 in Europe, but when they went to the World Championship had bombed out in last place. He had big shoes to fill, but Scrub Killa felt confident that he could revitalize a struggling Team Vitality. Unfortunately, in Season 6 that would not be the case, as they only managed to get 5th to 6th, missing out on the Season 6 World Championship, although they did manage to avoid the promotion playoffs, meaning they secured their spot in Season 7.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bummer to not qualify. I mean, like, that season, actually, the first 2 weeks, because like, it was league play back then, we actually went 0-2. We lost to Fnatic and Mouse Sports, so we had a really bad start to the season. And then, like, we actually started to do better. Like, we kind of brought it back. I think we went to, like, Game 5 against Dignitas or Gale Force, like, the absolute best team. And there were, like, a lot of signs that we could have done good, but, like, our problem, like, we just triple committed, like a lot of double commits, triple commits when Pashy was on the roster. I guess it just didn't work out, but it was like a really good learning experience, and it set us up for the next season.
Despite the potential the team knew they had, Scrub and Fairy wanted to do better the next season, and so decided to make a roster move dropping Pashy. So they began a search for a new teammate.
Well, like one day I came back from school, and then Fairy Peak messaged me on their card, and he was like, "Yo, can you come call?" So I joined call with him, and he's like, "Yo, like I've been speaking to K-Dop, and things aren't going that good in his team, and obviously things aren't going the best with us with Pashy. So K-Dop wants to start playing with us," and we started scrimming with K-Dop, and to be honest, we just destroyed everybody. Like, and the rest is history. I mean, as soon as we started playing with K-Dop, like the magic started to happen, and we were just literally destroying everybody in scrims. So I think like all of us knew that we had something pretty special on our hands.
RLCS Season 7 was set to begin in April 2019, but Scrub and his team got to meet up sooner than that when they competed in DreamHack Leipzig 2019. They got to meet in person and compete and made it all the way to the grand finals, an impressive run taking down some of the best in the world, including NRG and Flipside Tactics, ultimately falling in the grand finals to Dignitas, the reigning world champions.
It was the first time that I met Fairy and K-Dub as being on the same team with them, and obviously we wanted to win that tournament, but that was a super good event. And I think it definitely, meeting each other and playing with each other, you get like a much better relationship. So that set us up really well. And like we all got along pretty well with each other. So yeah, it was a really good event.
Between their talent and camaraderie, Vitality were clicking on all cylinders, and they kept up their hot streak into the RLCS, where they managed to win week after week, only dropping one series in week 4, meaning they ended European League play in first place and automatically qualified to the World Championship.
Yeah, well, League play was like really just went amazing for us. So like we only lost to Trouble Trouble, but like that league season was insane. I mean, like it wasn't just the fact that we went 6-1, but also the gameplay was so good. Like we were just dominated everybody. Like the passing plays were amazing, and yeah, I've got really good memories of league play. Like it was literally like kind of like the perfect season.
And it wasn't just that Vitality were winning their series, they were dominating them, crushing their opponents statistically. Fairy Peak got Savior of the Season, the most saves per game of any player in RLCS. Scrub Killa, meanwhile, was clutch playmaker, getting the most assists per game of anybody.
K-Dop had like the most goals, and I had like the second most goals, and like the saves, I think like the assists as well, like K-Dop and Fairy had the most assists, and like I had the second most assists, and like we just dominated like all the stats. Yeah, we just completely dominated that league play.
And despite having already qualified for the World Championship, Renault Vitality did not slow it down for the regional European playoffs. They breezed through the semifinals and grand finals to secure themselves the win and the first seed not only from Europe, but overall in the world.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, like, that's obviously come up to the land, so obviously, like, the land's the really important thing, but that's like a great confidence booster, and also a lot of money for us, so no complaints, you know.
Everything in Scrub Killa's career had built to this moment. He had spent years playing the game and waiting his turn for a shot at glory. He was at an RLCS World Championship and was among the favorites to win, but none of it would matter if he couldn't show up when it mattered most. And for a moment in group stage, it looked like Vitality might choke. They struggled, they lost to G2, they got second, and even dropped a game to Ground Zero in OCE's side. But everything started to turn around when they woke up on Championship Sunday.
I remember, like, when K-Dop woke up on the Championship Sunday, like, he, like, jumped out of bed, and then he was like, oh, we're gonna win and everything, like, so there was kind of like that story. I mean, I think, like, sometimes it's just, some things are just meant to happen, because, like, we'd lost to G2 on the Saturday, and like we were all a bit, like, bummed out, like annoyed that we lost, and then we all kind of went back and relaxed, and then like we all got to the venue on Sunday, and I think we all just had like a feeling like today something magical could happen, and I think like as soon as we beat Energy in the quarterfinals, like we were so confident after that.
At just 16 years old, Scrub Killa wasn't just a world champion, he was the youngest ever. And more than that, he was the MVP of the tournament.
I mean, I don't really care about the MVP that much because it's more about like just winning with the team. So like if Fairy Peak got the MVP or K-Dub got the MVP, it wouldn't have made the day any worse, you know. But obviously that's like a really nice bonus. But it wasn't really about like getting the MVP for me. It was just about winning with Fairy and K-Dub that meant the most.
Scrub and Vitality were world champions. But although the RLCS season was over, the grind didn't stop. There were off-season tournaments as soon as 2 weeks after the World Championship Finals, where Vitality went to DreamHack Valencia 2019 and struggled. They got out at top 8, losing in a sweep to NRG, and their struggles continued in the Rocket League Summit 1, where again they were swept out of the tournament, this time in last place by NRG.
I mean, like, I think it's natural, like, after we won, like, maybe it gets to your head a bit. Like, I think after we won, like, I didn't really play the game as much, because, like, when you're trying to get to the top, it's, like, easy to grind, but when you're at the top, that's the hard part to keep grinding, because, like, you don't really have that motivation, because you've just won. So I think that kind of played a part, and I think that happens with every single team, to be honest. And I think, like, a lot of people just improve naturally, because they see the level that you played at, and they elevate themselves to that level.
Vitality's post-championship struggles continued in RLCS Season 8 League play, where they managed a mediocre 4-3 record and were one loss, one game, one goal away from facing the promotion playoffs. In the final match of the season in League play, they played TSM, and it went not only to Game 5, but to overtime. And if they had lost, the reigning world champions would have had to fight for their RLCS lives in the promotion playoffs. Thankfully, not only did Vitality win that match, but they turned it around in the European regional playoffs, where they managed to win 2 back-to-back matches, securing a second place finish in the region and securing a spot at the World Championship. Renault Vitality's renewed strength continued into the RLCS Season 8 World Championship, where they went on a tear, making it not only to playoffs, not only to the semifinals, but all the way to a second grand finals in a row. They took NRG Esports to Game 7 overtime, but unfortunately came just short, meaning Scrub Killa did not secure a back-to-back World Championship victory.
Like, we did struggle a bit that season. We almost got, like, put into the promotion relegation tournament, but I'd still say that season went pretty good though, because I'd say, like, I mean, we got 1 goal away from winning again, so. But I mean, like, after we lost to NRG, I was like still smiling, like shaking their hands, because I mean, I felt like for us to go from promotion, one game from promotion, well, like literally one goal from promotion relegation, and then one goal from winning again. It was like pretty big achievement on itself to bounce back. And like, I mean, you know, energy, like all them guys, like especially Justin and Garrett, I feel like they kind of deserve to get that trophy one day. So like, obviously the compare and me wanted to win, but like it was kind of nice to see them win as well. So I was just like really grateful. I really enjoyed that event. I played the best that I could play, so I really gave it the most effort that I could ever give, and then they just beat us in the day, so they were better than us, and they deserved it.
Despite having one of the best comebacks in RLCS history and coming just one goal shy of a World Championship win, Renault Vitality made a roster move following the Season 8 finals. KDOP wanted to win championships. One goal shy wasn't good enough.
They just kicked me because I just didn't put like enough effort in. I know I didn't speak French and stuff, but it's not, I didn't really get kicked because I didn't speak French. I just got kicked because like I didn't put enough effort in after we won. But like at the end of the day, like I kind of wasn't going that well, and then before Season 8, I started to put a lot of like insane grind, and then I kind of like I gave it my all at the very end. But they were like already gonna get alpha. Like I wasn't mad about that either. I kind of seen it coming. But at the end of the day, like it went as perfect as it could have went, to be honest. So I was happy with the time spent with him.
Despite the seemingly abrupt nature of his departure, Scrub held no hard feelings for Renault Vitality, and was looking forward to finding a new team for Season 9. He settled on Mouse Sports, teaming up with Cuxer, a former world champion, and Speed, a longtime veteran of the game. Together, they hoped to stake their claim to fame and make it all the way back to another Grand Finals where Scrub hoped this time to win. Unfortunately, there would be no fairy tale ending, as this was perhaps the most notorious stint in Scrub Killa's career. Mousesports entered Season 9 League play with high hopes, and despite some losses here and there, they did well. Following the Week 7 loss to Renault Vitality, they sat in 6th place in the standings with a 4-3 record. If they won their final 2 matches, they could even qualify for the upper bracket of the regional championship. They were in a good spot. Then everything came crumbling down. The org publicly announced just a few days before the Week 8 matches that Scrub Killa was leaving the organization. There was a dispute between Scrub and the org over streaming hours, as well as the org branding that had to be displayed on stream, and Scrub refused to play out the rest of the season unless he was released from those terms in his contract. The org refused, and so Scrub left, meaning Mousesports had to play out the remainder of their season with the sub, Arju. This left Mousesports in a tricky position, and although they managed to rebound, winning their final 2 matches, qualifying for the playoffs, and even making top 4, Scrub Killa sat out the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, like I had a pretty bad relationship with the organization, but it was just like a lot of things that were going on at that time, and like a lot of developments, and that was like the start of 2020, and it was like a really weird time, to be honest. And I will like all my career, that's like the thing that I regret though, was like all that crap that happened with Mouse, because like of course I should have played the regional tournament with them. That was really stupid, but I mean I really enjoyed playing with Cooks and Speed though. I don't know, I mean it was a bad choice, that it was a really stupid choice I didn't play, but I guess the rest is history.
Despite the unsanctimonious ending to his time on Mousesports, Scrub was still a very talented player and was getting plenty of offers for the upcoming RLCS Season X. And he ended up going with the former Team Singularity, slotting in with Tho and Nolly on what would become Guild Esports. Scrub Killa and Guild were solidly top 8 in the fall split of Season X, making the playoffs in all 3 regionals but falling short each time on Championship Sunday, never making it to a semifinals.
Yeah, I mean that was a good experience with Guild. Like Tho and Nolly are really good guys. I mean like we weren't like the best, to be honest. I mean I think like at that point in my career, like I just wasn't like feeling as good about the game. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling like the way that I always felt. I kind of like lost my mojo a bit, but I feel like I wasn't that same level of gameplay, and that kind of happened for a while after that. But we did a boot camp in London, and it was pretty fun. And then like the season didn't really go the best. I think like we got top 8. Nolly and Tho are really good guys. I've only got good things to say about them.
Despite the consistently high placements, Guild Esports wanted better, and they dropped Scrub Killa for the upcoming winter split. Scrub found a new team though, Team Singularity, alongside Breezy and Hips. But this meant he had done one of the funniest things in Rocket League history. He replaced Godsmilla, who had been on the team during the fall split, for the second time, as Team Singularity's former roster was Nolly and Tho, who had been playing with Godsmilla. Within a 6-month span, Scrub Killa had caused Godsmilla to get benched from the same team twice, and adding fuel to the meme fire was the way the organization's Singularity handled it. In rather poor taste, they tweeted out the news with an exclamation point, causing an instant meme in the Rocket League community.
I mean, it was pretty funny. I mean, it's pretty sad for him, but it sucks to suck, you know what I mean? I mean, you're just gonna get replaced. But I mean, it wasn't like I wouldn't like want to replace the same guy twice. It just kind of worked out like that. You know what I mean? I didn't have something against him personally. You know what I mean? It kind of looked like that because I replaced him twice. Like, oh, he's gonna go to the team to replace Miller, but I guess it was just kind of like I just happened to replace him twice. But it was funny though.
Unfortunately for Scrub Killa, he didn't get a lot done while on Team Singularity. They made all 3 winter regionals and did qualify for the winter EU major where they got top 8, but that was their best finish of the season and it only went downhill in the spring split.
Singularity is like a weird. I mean, like the thing with Singularity, we were kind of having a laugh. Like I would say that the environment and vitality was pretty different to Singularity. Like, yeah, we were kind of like goofing around a little bit. I mean, I feel like at that time I wasn't like that motivated with the game as well. So I think we all just kind of like raided it out because we were all friends with each other, me, Breezy, and Hibbs, and also Marky, the coach list. We all got along really well, so I think we just kind of thought, let's just keep playing to the end of the season.
Season X was a mediocre one for Scrub Killa. He was still a regular face in the RLCS, but he had fallen far from his heights as a world champion. He knew that for next season, when RLCS returned to in-person LANs and eventually a world championship, he wanted to be back at the top, at the LANs, and possibly winning them. So he teamed up with Jorias and apparently Jack, 2 top-tier players on the organization Dignitas, who had won a world championship with one of their former rosters. He was ready to be back at the top.
Yeah, I mean, it was great playing with Jack and yours because I think like we were all very high skill players, and like we still are very high skill players because we were all very good at 1v1. That gave us quite a good just like way of playing the game, and like we were like definitely one of the best teams in Europe by far.
And indeed, it did look like Scrub Killa was back at the top during the fall split. His team never got worse than top 4 in the 3 regionals and even won the second one, meaning they were the 2nd seed out of Europe going into the fall major. And at the fall major, they dominated the Swiss stage, going 3-0, not dropping a single series. It looked like they were about to steamroll their way to another RLCS LAN championship for Scrub Killa until it came crumbling down in the quarterfinals. A devastating Game 7 loss to Semper sent Dignitas home and lost Scrub another chance at glory.
Well, it's like, I mean, I think me, Jack, and yours will all say that like we definitely would have wanted to have done way better. I mean, like even the Sweden LAN, like we did really good in the group stage, and then we like didn't do that good in the playoffs. So it's kind of like the story on Dig. Like we were really, really good, but we didn't like live up to the potential as much. And I think that's kind of like down to all of us as well. Like I didn't do a good enough job, and I think I learned quite a lot from that, though. You know.
Winter looked like an early bounce back for Dignitas. In the first regional event, they perfect swept BDS to make their way to a grand final, although they ultimately got 2nd place, and they never placed worse than top 6 in the remaining 2 regionals, meaning they qualified to the winter split major with room to spare. Unfortunately, again the wheels came off on LAN. This time they did even worse. Making it out of groups, sure, but losing their very first match of playoffs, a Game 5 loss to Evil Geniuses, in a reverse sweep of all ways. A devastating end to a Dignitas team that thought they could do better.
Again, like we still did really good. Like we perfect swept BDS even. Like that was a very big achievement, and the team would all kind of like lost belief in each other like a little bit, and I think that goes a really long way though, because like even when the mental starts slipping a tiny bit and you start thinking like, should we even play with each other and stuff, It's kind of like the grave getting sealed, you know what I mean? You just had like some bad losses and there was like a little bit of tension and stuff, and we just all kind of knew that we're not going to keep playing with each other, you know?
Despite the disappointing finishes at back-to-back majors, Scrub Killa and company decided to stick it out for the spring split, as long as they did decent, they had almost certainly guaranteed a spot at the World Championship. However, the organization had qualms, so they hired a coach for Dignitas, Nick, who would try and right the ship and get the team back to what they knew they could be.
I think we said we wanted to get a coach, and then I wanted to add people that I wanted to get, and then Dignitas kind of like took matters into their own hands. I thought it was a bit weird, to be honest, but we got Nick in, and like I think by that point I was kind of just over. I don't think Nick's like that good of a coach, to be honest, but he's a cool guy though. I mean, like you could sit and listen to this interview. I'm not like here to like, I'm just gonna say how I feel, you know. I think some like the worst guys are, you know what I mean? Like it just, I think like it doesn't really matter with the coach though, because I think at that point I was already we just weren't enjoying playing with each other as much. And then with Nick, it didn't really help anything, you know. But that's not Nick's fault. That's because it was like it kind of went downhill before that. I think like even at the World Championship we could have done a bit better, you know.
Unfortunately, Coach Nick had no magic up his sleeves, and the best Dignitas could manage in their final 3 regionals was a top 6 finish in Event 3. This meant they missed the spring major, although they did manage to snag a spot at the World Championship through how well they had done in previous splits. At the season 21-22 World Championship, Dignitas just had a mediocre result. They managed to make it out of wildcard, going 3-1 in the Swiss bracket, which was expected, but then in group stage, they kinda bombed out. They lost back-to-back series and went out with a whimper against the club. Unfortunately, this was the end of Scrub's time on Dignitas. He, Jack, and Jorias all went their separate ways, and Scrub had to find a new team for the following season. He teamed with 2 young up-and-comers, Nas and Bry. Together, they joined SK Gaming and went into the 22-23 season with high hopes.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of spotted Nas in ranked, and I thought, like, damn, this guy's really good at the game, so I thought, like, maybe want to start playing with this guy and stuff, but it just didn't really work on the pitch. I mean, I think, like, all of our playstyles kind of clashed as well, but we had a coach as well, Moomin, but we could just never really get, like, a good rotation and stuff like that, and yeah, it just wasn't that successful. I mean,
unfortunately, between the fall and winter splits, SK Gaming failed to make it out of a single closed qualifier, never making it to the RLCS. Scrub Killa knew he needed better for the spring split, and decided on another intriguing roster. Scrub wouldn't have the backing of an esports organization this time, but he still wanted to make some waves in the RLCS, and he set his sights on teaming up with Rowley and Rezi, 2 English players with whom he thought they could dominate the pitch, play aggressive ball, and shock the top teams in the region. And Hogan Mode, as they would be called, did exactly that.
Rezi and Growley, I think we had like good natural like synergy with each other. Like I think we just had a natural like compatibility almost, and then I think things were just going really good in scrims, and we were very confident. And like going from SK to that, I knew that like, okay, we're so much like better. So I knew that we were gonna do good.
Hogan Mode took Spring Regional 1 by storm, going undefeated through the open qualifier and closed qualifier, making it to the main event, and then getting all the way to top 6. Along the way, taking down one of the top teams in the region, Oxygen Esports, in a sweep. This was completely unexpected from a side that all 3 players had missed the previous split entirely, not qualifying for a single RLCS event in the winter split. Yes, Scrub had some history, a world champion and all, but he hadn't been doing well in recent seasons, so no one expected the sudden rise of Hogan Mode. If they kept this up, they might be in a prime position to make the spring major. But then disaster struck in Regional 2. Hogan Mode struggled in the closed qualifier and ultimately lost 3 matches, eliminating them before they could get to the main events, and all but effectively assuring they would not make the spring major.
They maybe got to our heads a little bit after winning the. Like it's kind of like what happened to fight. No, we didn't win though, but we got top 6. So like players that had never really did that good, like started doing good, and then I mean I don't know. I guess we just didn't play that good in the day. But of course, if we made the second regional, we would have made the major. But then it just didn't happen. So that is what it is.
Although it was too little too late, Hogan Mode did bounce back in Regional 3. They managed to not only make it to top 6, but get all the way to 3rd place. In the process, they took down Team Liquid in a Game 7 and Karmine Corp in 5 games. They looked very impressive, and if it weren't for that poor second regional showing, they may very well have qualified for the Spring Major.
Like at the end of the day, like when you just believe in yourselves and you know that you can do it, like then you can do it. And okay, we didn't win, we didn't qualify, but we still put a pretty big impact into the scene. So I think it was a very cool tournament, and let's see if I can do it again. Yeah.
The split may be over, but the Hogan Mode story wasn't. You see, they had built a massive following during the 3 regionals, especially in their 3rd place run in Regional 3. Fans wanted to see if they would stick together for the next season, and were devastated when they found out the team was splitting up.
Like, I guess just didn't want to play with each other anymore. I mean, probably would have been better if we stuck, but yeah, I mean, I would have liked to keep playing with them, and I think like Resi as well, but like maybe not Girly, but I'm not sure. People are just ruthless, you know what I mean? And like because especially with the different languages and stuff, like if you're not winning, then you ain't gonna keep playing with each other, that's for sure. You know, and you see that time and time again. I think Girly and Resi probably realise now that it's not so easy just to get a top 3, you know?
And that takes our story and Scrub Killa into the year 2024. It's a new year, a new season, and a new format. There's only 2 splits, meaning it's more important than ever to get your team right from day 1. If you switch mid-season, you're probably not going to qualify for the World Championship, even if you were one of the best in your region. Scrub decided to join Tea Time, an Orgless team with Hibs and Gomp. Unfortunately, this was his worst split of RLCS ever. He only managed to get top 24 once in the Open Qualifier 1, and Open Qualifiers 2 and 3 saw even worse performances, only getting top 48.
Yeah, I mean, Tea Time was like, just didn't go that well. I mean, it's pretty, like, not memorable. And then, yeah, we just were pretty crap. And then, that's kind of like me here right now. I mean, I don't really have much to say. I mean, just didn't go that well, and that's that.
Scrub left Tea Time and for the final split of the 2024 season revived We Dem Girls, playing for fun with Griezemeister and Remco. They did get into the money, making top 64 twice and top 96 the other time, but never got further than that in the Open Qualifiers. And that brings us to present day. Scrub Killa is still a professional Rocket League player, is still grinding the game, and still trying to reach the upper echelons of the RLCS, but only time will tell if he returns to an international grand final. One thing is for certain though, Scrub Killa loves the game of Rocket League, and has shown that year after year through his streams and content creation, which is something he's had to balance with being a professional player.
I don't even stream half the time, so it's not even that much of a responsibility. But I mean, I think like you could play in RLCS and stream into YouTube. You know, I think like it's just a video game. It's not like if you do Twitch or something, you can't compete. You know what I mean? Some people think that, and it's just I think it's ridiculous. But I think like it's just about time management. Like you have to think like I've got so many hours in a day, so I need to dedicate so many hours to play with my team and then focus on myself. But also I could dedicate some time to content, you know, and I'm still going to be playing the game anyway, so I'll still be improving, you know. So I think like most Rocket League pro players like don't have that attitude, oh like, oh, I'm doing everything that I can and like, oh, I can't kite stream. Like most pro players don't even like the game, you know. So I think like when it comes to competing and making content, like anybody could do it. There's no excuse. You don't have to stream every day, of course, but you could stream like a couple times a week, and then you could do YouTube. There's no real reason why not, in my opinion.
RLCS pros have been moving regions for years, dating back to between season 6 and 7, when Drip A moved from OCE to North America. And since then, the volume of transfers has only grown. There's a lot to consider, especially when you include CRL, Collegiate Rocket League, and the chance to pay for your college education by playing the game of Rocket League. It's something Scrub may consider in the future too.
Nah, not CRL. I mean, like I'm going to NA to play in RLCS. I mean, I've thought about it, but I'm just gonna stay in Europe for now. I'd rather play in EU. Like, I think I'd rather move to Saudi to play than move to NA.
Although some North American and European players have moved to expansion regions, most notably Team Mobula, who recently qualified for the second major, it's still a rare occurrence, especially when you include MENA, which is one of the tougher expansion regions, if not the toughest in the world.
I think Europe's still more difficult because Europe actually had a spot removed since last season, right? Like, it's already way harder in EU because of that. And like, okay, Middle East is only half the spots, but Middle East there's not as many top teams, obviously. So I think like if you're a European team and you move to the Middle East, you're more likely to qualify than if you were like maybe like top 5, top 6, and you weren't going to make the major in Europe, you definitely go more likely to make it in Middle East. So 100% the Europe's harder.
No matter what region he's playing in, what teammates he's playing with, Scrub Killa is always going to give Rocket League his all. And I have full confidence we will see him on an RLCS stage again. The story of Scrub Killa is not over yet. Thank you so much to Scrub Killa for the interview. He was an absolute blast to have on, and please check him out at the following places.
Yeah, I mean, like twitch.tv/scrub, youtube.com/scrub, and then twitter.com/scrubkilla, and that's it.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year. I appreciate all your support, and we'll see you in the next video. Do you have any shoutouts or anything you'd want to be in the video?
Nah, it's alright. Just share with myself. Yeah.